Good afternoon. Today we are starting we're continuing with unit 3 with CO14. I can evaluate algebraic expressions. What does the word evaluate mean? It doesn't? Do the math. What does it equal? Yes. Yeah. So when it says evaluate, it means do the math. So our progression from expressions to equations continues. First, we wrote the expressions. Then we simplified them. Now we are going to evaluate them with given values for the variables. So we will also represent the expressions graphically. Ooh, so we're throwing in something new. So remember the order of operations. That's key. We've gone over the order of operations. We have to remember the order. Also, be careful when the value of a variable is negative, particularly when squaring. The sign is important and must be included. So think about this. If we square -5, what would my answer be? If I squared -5, what would I get for an answer? Kyle? So, we're thinking because we see a negative here, we would see a negative answer. But let's think about what we're actually doing. We are doing -5 times -5. Now when we see it written out in the expanded form, we know it's negative times a negative. So what kind of answer are we going to have, Kyle? Positive 25. Oops. So that negative sign, we have to pay attention to it. And we have to really think about what math we are doing. When we square, we're multiplying that number by itself. So we see that number 2 times, so negative times a negative. If it was -5 to the third, what would my expanded form look like? A dozen?
-5 times -5 times -5.
So I would have negative times a negative, which would be a positive 25 times a -5. So now my answer is going to be a negative 125. Because I went negative times negative is positive. Positive times that negative gave me a negative answer. So you really, when you're using exponents, you have to think about what you are multiplying through. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is not the page, or it is the page. We do have a graph on this page. Okay, so let's keep looking. We're going to rewrite each expression given these certain values. A equals 9, n equals 20, and x equals -5. Then we're going to evaluate it. So even though they didn't write the equal sign, it says to evaluate. So we know that we need to do the math. So what I want to see, your work that you're going to show me is you're going to write, if you see an A, you're going to put in a 9 in there. And then minus, when you see an N, you're going to put a 20. And I want to see the math that you're doing. So 12 times 9 is 108 minus 20. So 108 minus 20 is 88. And then circle your answer. Get in the habit of circling your answer so the teacher can see where the answer is right away instead of looking through all of your work to find your answer. Does that make sense how I got 88 for an answer? Dominic, I'm going to have you go stand at the standing desk back there. So bring your math. Let's look at our next one. A plus x plus 2. So A is 9 plus -5 plus 2. I'm putting that -5 in parentheses so I can see that it's a negative number. And it's not plus minus 5. That's confusing. It's plus negative 5. So 9 plus negative 5 would be what? Well, 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 gives me my 6. So now we have 3n divided by the square root of a. So 3 times 9 divided by the square root. Oh, 3n. Sorry, I did a. 3 times n, which is 20, divided by the square root of a. So I'm going to do my square root first because that's my radical. So square root of 9 is 3. Now I'm going to bring down the rest. 3 times 20 divided by 3. What do I do next? James? I'm going to multiply my 3 and 20 because I hit that first when I read from left to right. 3 times 20 is 60 divided by 3. 60 divided by 3 is 20. So I want to see your steps. Notice how I'm doing it right underneath that division symbol is right underneath itself. I'm keeping it organized so I don't get confused as to what I'm supposed to do next. And I don't forget to do one of my operations. When you don't fully carry down your expression, that's when people forget to do steps. I'm not saying it just for the fun of it. It's a common mistake that I've seen. When you don't copy everything down, that's when we make those simple mistakes. So do one step at a time, copy it down, and work your way down to the answer. Next, we have a squared plus 4a minus 8. So a is 9, so 9 squared plus 4 times 9 minus 8. What is the first thing I'm going to do? Jude?
You're gonna do the 9 squared.
9 squared is 81, and I'm going to bring down the rest of my expression. What's the next thing I'm going to do? Grayson? Well, so the parentheses is just the 9. I'm just showing that I'm multiplying. I could have wrote that as 4 times 9 with my dot, but I need to do multiplying next. So 4 times 9 is 36. So I have 81 plus 36 minus 8. I'm sorry, what? Oh. I flipped it. Thank you, Grayson. So next, I've got adding and subtracting. So whatever I hit first, which would be 117 minus 8. 117 minus 8 is 109. Whoops. Now, look at what I just did. What does it look like my answer is? Grace? Yeah, it looks like it's 09. Because when I circled it, I accidentally circled right over my 1. I had friends doing that on the test, and I had to call them up and say, can you tell me what your answer is? And they told me, and I said, thank goodness I started correcting in class. Because if I was at home, I am not going to try to decipher that. And I'm going to say, well, it looks like it's 09. So you need to remember that when you write your answer and you circle it, take that extra half a second, slow yourself down so I can see the full answer, okay? It helps me when I'm correcting 31 tests to know exactly what the answer is that you're putting. You're going to do the bottom row on your own. We want to get onto that graphing part because this is something new to us. We've put in variables before and figured out what it means. Usually we've done it with one variable. This time we have multiple variables, but we're doing the same kind of math. But now we're gonna write our expression from our verbal phrases. We're going to evaluate it, and then we're going to graph it. So we want to save up to buy an iPhone and decide to put $3 each day into savings. How much will you have saved on day 5? How about day 8? How about day 12? So the first thing we have to ask ourselves, if we're gonna save $3 every day, what is our expression gonna look like? What do you think the expression's gonna look like? What operation are we going to be doing? What do you think, Henry?
We're gonna be doing multiplying.
So what would my expression look like?
Like 300.
Yeah, I'm going to say, because it's every day, I'm gonna use 3 times D, 3D.
3D.
So that would be my expression, because I'm saving $3 every day. So I want that 3 is my constant. Every day I'm putting in $3. But now I need to see, what does that mean for day 5, day 8, and day 12? So now I have 3 times day 5, 3 times day 8, and 3 times day 12. So how much money would I have on day 5? Matthew? 15. How much money am I going to have on day 8, Damien?
24.
$24. How much money am I going to have on day 12? Lakely? $36. So I wrote my expression. That was the 3 times D. I evaluated it for every day. So I answered each of these questions. That's evaluating it for the given values. Now I need to graph it. So when we look at our graph, what we're changing is our day, and what we're finding is what we have in our savings. So we need to label our axes. So this would be day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. How far out do I have to label my days, Grace? To day 12. So I'm going to label the bottom graph all the way to day 12. And then I'm going to look coming up the y-axis, going up that side. I see my biggest number is 36. Do I have 36 lines? I don't think so. What do you think I should skip count by? What would make sense, Claire?
3.
Because I'm multiplying by 3. So I'm going to skip by 3s. So I'm going to call this 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Nope, not, yeah, 30, 33, 36. I don't have to go any farther because that's the highest number that I went to. So I've labeled my graph. I put in, so it's important that we have titles for each side, and we have our numbers on the bottom and our numbers going up. Now, I actually have to graph it. So on day 5, I'm going to go up to the 15, because I have $15 on day 5. On day 8, I have $24. And on day 12, I have $36. So that is my graph of the expression 3D. Are we following? Thumbs up if that made sense. Thumbs down if we need to explain it a little more. I'm looking for thumbs, friends. As much as I want to, I can't read your mind. Are we tracking it, or should I explain it a little more? Okay. So, it gets a little more complicated. Our expressions aren't always easy peasy. So let's look at our second one, our second graphing that we have to do, that first one on the next page. We're gonna break it down a little bit together to find that expression that we need. Your parents give you and your sister points for each chore completed, and today, in the spirit of Christmas, they are going to double the points earned. Before doubling, your sister had earned 7 points. So before we double anything, she already has 7 points. How many total points will the two of you have if you earn 3 points, again, before doubling? How about if you had 10 points before doubling? Or you had 15 points before doubling? So this is a multi-step expression we have to write. What does it mean to double something? What math are we doing? Gabe? What are we multiplying by?
2.
By 2. So when we double something, we're multiplying by 2. So what is it that we are going to double? Jude?
You're gonna double your points that you have.
Not just my points.
And your sister's.
So I want to double the total points earned. What does total mean? What math do we do to find the total, Emerson? We're adding. So we're adding my sister's points and my points, and then we double it. Any guess on what that expression might look like? What do you think, James?
P for points, and then parentheses 2.
So all I know is I have 3 points, or 10 points, or 15 points. What important thing are we missing? What other information do we have? Damien?
Exponents.
We're not using exponents in this one. We're not that complicated yet. Adeza? We need to put in our sister's points. It's a total of our points plus our sister's. So how are we going to show that, Gabe?
P plus 2 times 2.
Why did we do P plus 2?
Because you have to add your sister's.
How many points does my sister have?
Oh, P plus 7.
P plus 7, because my sister had 7 points. And then what else do I do?
Multiply it or add that to it. No,
How do I show my multiply by 2? Because if I just said multiply by 2, I'm going to multiply the 7 by 2, but that's not what I want to do. I have to have my parentheses around my P and 7, because I'm going to add first. I'm going to get the total of my sister's points of 7 and whatever points I had, and then I double it. So the mathy way, you always put the number first and then the parentheses. I would accept that way on a test because you know you have to do the parentheses and then you multiply. So I would accept it this way, but this is the mathy way if you want to be that full-on mathematician. You put the number and then the parentheses, and we just know we have to do the parentheses first. So this is our expression. Next thing we have to do is do the math. So Jude,
would you do, you would do 10 plus 7 times 2.
yep, so that 2, I'm going to use the full math expression, 2 times parentheses P plus 7. So 2 times my parentheses, My first one, I'm gonna start, Jude, with the 3,
Oh,
because that's the first points that we were given. So I'm gonna do 3 plus 7. And then I have to throw in a 10 for my points plus 7. And then I have to throw in the 15 plus 7. Making sure I remember it's 2 times that total. So, first thing I do is my parentheses. 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. What am I going to get for when I evaluate my second expression? Christian, 34. 17 times 2. What do I get for my next expression? Henry.
Oh, no. 46.
Super close. What did you get for 15 plus 7?
Oh.
15 plus 7 is 22. Times 2 would be what, Henry? 44. What's the last thing I have to do? I am not done yet with this problem. What do I have to do, Jude?
Label,
I have to label. So what do you think would be appropriate labels? Damien?
the points.
And where am I going to put the points? Top or the side? Oops, side or bottom?
The bottom?
The bottom, because that's what I'm changing. I'm putting down below on the bottom what I'm changing. What is the side? What do I get by changing the points? What am I finding? When I figure it all out, what do I get? Adeza? Total points. So my points are down below. Total points with me and my sister are what we're finding up the side. I'm going to have you figure out how to number. If you're going to skip count, thinking about what our numbers are, what you might want to skip count by to make sure you have enough room on your graph, and you're going to graph them. You're going to try to figure out the expression down below on your own. So try to see if you can figure out the expression and do the math. Remember, tomorrow is a retake day. So make sure you have practice work done and turned in so I can get that corrected so we can do those retakes tomorrow. If you are done with retakes or you only have one retake to do, you'll have time in class to work on this also. I am not going to tell us how to do this one. I want you to really stretch your brain muscle and see if you can challenge yourself. Can you figure out what this bottom one's expression is going to be? Thinking through what we talked about when we were talking about the different things. Are we multiplying? Are we dividing? Are we adding? Are we subtracting? Think about those verbal phrase words. Addie.
Let's do tomorrow.
So are we correcting this tomorrow, friends?
No.
Why not?
We don't want this over any tomorrow.
Because tomorrow's a retake day.
I don't know what's going on.
But I just said it, Addie. I literally just said it. I know, instead of listening to me, we should always listen to the teacher until they're done, because I answer a lot of your questions in my directions. So tomorrow is a retake day. So if you're done with retakes or you only have one retake to do, you will have some time in class tomorrow. Stretch your brain muscle and challenge yourself to find this answer. If you are watching this video at home, we hope you are well. Excuse me, friends, shh. If you are watching this at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.